Hi, this is Pei Zhang. This is our third presentation for this course. We will be covering participants in medical communication and their communicative purposes. Before starting to draft our target text, it is important to consider who is likely to read it and in which circumstances, so we should give some thought to the following points. Educational and professional background. In general, it is easier to write for readers whose educational and professional background is sound. Levels of knowledge and experiences. The reader's previous knowledge about a particular topic determines the degree of explicitness and amount of explanation required when writing the target text. Purposes and applications of the information. Readers read texts in order to be able to do things or find out about them. Linguistic abilities. For a variety of reasons, some readers may not have a good command of their own language when used in non-colloquial, unfamiliar contexts. Familiarity with specialized terminology. When shared by the reader, terminology is highly convenient because it saves time and effort in the writing process. When not shared, however, the use of specialized terminology can be a communicative barrier for the reader. Reading context. The physical and psychological condition in which the reader read the text. Broader cultural context. The country where they live. The particular value and beliefs about health held in that country. The organization of health system. The university system. The research system, and so forth. As we have already seen, many different people are involved in medical communication. For practical and pedagogical purposes, attention may be focused on 5 reader profiles: general readers, patients, students, health professionals, and researchers. These 5 profiles correspond to different degrees of specialization and, therefore, of complexity for the translator. Although they all read for practical reasons, all are functional readers. Each of them wants the information for different reasons and uses it in different ways. So let's look at the profiles. The general reader. Their application of information is preventing disease. For the patient, is treating the disease. For the student, is becoming a health professional. For the health professional, is implementing knowledge. And for the researcher, is advancing that knowledge. Now, it would be helpful to consider the way readers read functional texts. According to Wright in 1999, 3 stages can be distinguished: access to information, interpretation, and application. Access means reader asks the question and skip searches for information likely to contain the answer. Interpretation is where the reader understands the verbal information and the graphic information. They integrate the verbal and the graphic information, then infer personal relevance, and they infer the author's agenda. Application. The reader integrates understanding with the personal beliefs and attitudes. They determine appropriate decisions and actions. The reader devises an action plan, including sub-goals and necessary steps. The reader carries out all the steps in the plan, monitoring the outcomes. And if the monitoring yields a mismatch between the sub-goals and the attainment, the reader formulates a new question and recycles from the first step, which is access. In accordance with the reader's profile, needs, and application, medical authors choose a particular genre to convey their message. For example, if the reader is a scientist doing research in the treatment of a particular disease, authors may choose the research article to communicate their own research. If the reader is a patient, authors will have to choose a different genre, probably the summary for patients, to communicate the same message. When translating research articles to be published in a specialized journal, medical translators should note that 2 specific reading processes may take place. Refereeing, in which independent, anonymous referees select the articles that will be published in the journal on the basis of relevance of content and good style. Reviewing, in which experts in the subject matter of the article summarize and evaluate its findings. So, how do you analyze your readership? First, let's read the text below and analyze its likely readership by exploring the following questions. Who are the readers? Do you think they belong to a professional or social group? Why will they read the text? How much do you think they know about the topic of the text? In which context will they read the text and for which purposes? What should they know, think, or be able to do after reading the text? Hyperlipoproteinemia is abnormally high levels of lipids, such as cholesterol, triglycerides, or both, carried by lipoproteins in blood. Levels of lipoproteins, and therefore lipids, particularly LDL cholesterol, increase slightly as people age. Levels are normally slightly higher in men than in women, but levels increase in women after menopause. The increase in levels of lipoproteins that occurs with age can result in hyperlipoproteinemia and increase the risk of atherosclerosis. High level of HDL, the good cholesterol, is beneficial and is not considered a disorder. So who do you believe the readers are for this particular entry? Are they students? Is it a researcher or a professional? Is it a patient? Do you think they belong to a professional or social group? And how much do you think they know about the topic of the text? According to this entry, which is not so packed with terminologies, we should assume that it was probably written for patients or students. You can imagine the reader does not know much about the text, because they're given explanations of what lipoproteins are, LDL cholesterol, and HDL cholesterols are. So it's not written to professionals or researchers who would already have this type of knowledge. And why should they know this information? Because it's information that would help them with their health. And now let's look at the treatment. Usually, the best treatment for people who have high cholesterol or triglyceride levels is to lose weight if they're overweight, stop smoking if they smoke, decrease the total amount of fat and cholesterol in their diet, increase physical activity, and, if necessary, take a lipid-lowering drug. A diet low in fats and cholesterol can lower the LDL cholesterol level. Experts recommend limiting calories from fat to no more than 25 to 35% of the total calories consumed over several days. The type of fat consumed is also important. Fat may be saturated, polyunsaturated, or monounsaturated. Saturated fats increase cholesterol levels more than other forms of fat. Saturated fats should provide no more than 7 to 10% of total calories consumed each day. Polyunsaturated fats, which include omega-3 fats and omega-6 fats, and monosaturated fats may help decrease levels of triglyceride and LDL cholesterols in the blood. The fat content of most foods is included on the label of the container. So again, who is this written to? Was it for a patient? Was it for a student, a researcher, or a professional? So in order to know who your target audience is going to be, you need to analyze the content text, and you need to look at what type of groups they belong to. How much do you think they know about the topic, in which context they will read this particular information, and what is the goal of this particular information. Okay?